It was getting hotter. Frank May got off his mat and padded over to look out the window. Umber stucco walls and tiles, the color of the local clay. Square apartment blocks like the one he was in, rooftop patios occupied by residents who had moved up there in the night, it being too hot to sleep inside. Now quite a few of them were standing behind their chest-high walls looking east. Sky the color of the buildings, mixed with white where the sun would soon rise. Frank took a deep breath. It reminded him of the air in a sauna. This, the coolest part of the day. In his entire life he had spent less than 5 minutes in saunas. He didn't like the sensation. Hot water, maybe. Hot, humid air, no. He didn't see why anyone would seek out such a stifling, sweaty feeling. Here there was no escaping it. He wouldn't have agreed to come here if he had thought it through. It was his hometown's sister city, but there were other sister cities, other aid organizations. He could have worked in Alaska. Instead, sweat was dripping into his eyes and stinging. He was wet, wearing only a pair of shorts. Those too were wet. There were wet patches on his mat where he had tried to sleep. He was thirsty, and the jug by his bedside was empty. All over town, the stressed hum of window box air conditioner fans buzzed like giant mosquitoes. And then the sun cracked the eastern horizon. It blazed like an atomic bomb, which, of course, it was. The fields and buildings underneath that brilliant chip of light went dark, then darker still, as the chip followed to the sides in a burning line that then bulged to a crescent he couldn't look at. The heat coming from it was palpable, a slap to the face. Solar radiation heating the skin of his face, making him blink. Stinging eyes flowing. He couldn't see much. Everything was tan and beige and a brilliant, unbearable white. Ordinary town in Uttar Pradesh, 6 a.m. He looked at his phone. 38 degrees. In Fahrenheit that was, he tapped, 103 degrees. Humidity about 35%. The combination was the thing. A few years ago it would have been among the hottest wet bulb temperatures ever recorded. Now just a Wednesday morning. Wails of dismay cut the air, coming from the rooftop across the street. Cries of distress, a pair of young women leaning over the wall, calling down to the street. Someone on that roof was not waking up. Frank tapped at his phone and called the police. No answer. He couldn't tell if the call had gone through or not. Sirens now cut the air, sounding distant as if somehow submerged. With the dawn, people were discovering sleepers in distress, finding those who would never wake up from the long, hot night. Calling for help. The sirens seemed to indicate some of the calls had worked. Frank checked his phone again, charged, showing a connection, but no reply at the police station he had occasion to call several times in his 4 months here. 2 months to go. 58 days. Way too long. July 12th. Monsoon not yet arrived. Focus on getting through today, one day at a time. Then home to Jacksonville, comically cool after this. He would have stories to tell. But the poor people on the rooftop across the way. Then the sound of the air conditioners cut off. More cries of distress. His phone no longer showed any bars. Electricity gone. Brownout or blackout. Sirens like the wails of gods and goddesses. The whole Hindu pantheon in distress. Generators were already firing up. Loud two-stroke engines. Illegal gas, diesel, kerosene saved for situations like these. When the law requiring use of liquid natural gas gave way to necessity. The air, already bad, would soon be a blanket of exhaust, like breathing from the exhaust pipe of an old bus. Frank coughed at the thought of it, tried again to drink from the jug by his bed. It was still empty. He took it downstairs with him, filled it from their filtered tank in the refrigerator in the closet there. Still cold, even with power off. And now in his thermos jug, where it would stay cold for a good long while. He dropped an iodine pill in the jug for good measure, sealed it tight. The weight of it was reassuring,